Good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Unexcused tardiness, says Nick Sweeney. I got here right at 7, right before it was 7:01. So, let's see. What's up, Nick Sweeney? Engineer, what's up, man? Like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. Engineer, let's see. What's up, dude? Too legit to quit. Too hip, gotta go. It's a great song, man. It's a great song. I mean, that was like the first song I remember hearing. That's from when I was very, very little. Good song though. Hammer is a real gangster. So tonight we're going to be talking about bull and bear fights. Basically, there's a couple other things we're going to cover, but this is one that I could kind of make this an episode, but it's probably safer for the algorithm if we do it this way because it'd be hard to sell a bull versus bear video. We still might do it. I don't know. We're going to see, but we're going to talk about it in a live stream and talk about the culture behind. There's different terms for it. There's bear baiting, which sounds bad, but it's where you have a bear fight different animals. In this instance, we're going to talk about the bull and bear fights from specifically California history and the whole affair. It's like their own gladiator games. What's up, Bam Indiana? What's up, Nick Citron? Let's see. Wow, I got 13 people in already. So we'll do our normal thing. We'll talk for 10 minutes and hang out, let everybody roll in here. But I think, okay, one thing I should say. I'm going to try and keep things as PG-13 as I can. But trigger warning for everyone. There's a fair amount of rough stuff in this episode. And sometimes we're not going to be gratuitous, but sometimes even history fans have a harder time hearing about animal stuff than human stuff, understandably so. So we're going to be covering a little bit of that, but I'm not going to be gratuitous. This is to educate, not to shock, or at least to entertain, not to shock. No, I want the R-rated version. It'll be close enough, Batman. No, I'm already having to pull it back quite a bit. So, but I mean, you guys you'll get it. We're not going to talk about. You probably know about this stuff happening. It's the interesting thing is two things really. It's the origin and the etymology of today's stock market terms, like bull market is going up, a bear market is going down, and what a festive a spectacle it was. We're on a Sunday. This is a Sunday, and it was always a Sunday event. Right after going to mass, everybody would circle around this big arena. They'd have a bunch of different events and like prelim things. So it's very, very reminiscent, certainly of Spanish bullfighting culture, but very reminiscent of gladiator games. If you've ever seen, I'm sure most people have seen Gladiator, but you're not supposed to assume. If you haven't seen Gladiator, there's a scene in it where they're in this dusty old arena in the middle of, gosh, I don't even know really where they're supposed to be, North Africa or something. And they're having a neighborhood, let's say county-wide gladiator fight. And it's just this very bizarre, ethereal spectacle. It's kind of part Star Wars almost and part medieval games, part medieval competition. I don't know, but it's very evocative of the scene we're going to talk about today, and also how common it was. I didn't realize how often they were having these bull and bear fights, and this kind of sequential order. They did some rough stuff just to pull the show off. They did some harsh stuff. What's up? Who else we got in here? Engineer. Okay, we got the same. All right, right on. We're just letting people kind of roll in. But yeah, it's a hell of a story. And I've always kind of heard about it, but this is my first deep dive into it. And we'll cover a little bit of California culture, a little bit of vaquero culture, caballero culture. What's up, Evan? Good to see you, man. You know what time it is. That's right. I think you guys will like this one. It's a hell of a story. It's a hell of a spectacle. Horns and claws, says Nick Sweeney. Absolutely, man. And another one of those things that, listen, excuse me, it's unfortunate. We don't like these stories. We don't like that these cruel things happened, right? Okay, we can clarify that. We all agree. However, again, just like the Herman Lehman opening the rodeo example, gosh, my voice is going already. Just like the Herman Lehman opening the rodeo example, come on, if you had a couple beers in you, you'd at least stop to check this out. You'd at least say, like, let me stay for like 5 minutes. Let's just see what's going on here. All right, let me grab my coffee too. It's right on the countertop. I'll be 2 seconds. All right. Okay. Now we're set. Some people just don't have a heart. You're going to hear about quite a few of those people tonight. Let's see. The great thing about me being me, says Nick Sweeney, is that 2/3 of me is animal. That's true. Man and, excuse me, it's bear and pig. Yeah, let's hang out for another couple minutes. Everybody enjoy last night's movie night. I've thought about this more and more, and I'm less and less happy with Christian Bale's character because it's like, okay, great job, bro. You made your point here. You got the guy on the train. You're gonna make your money, but you could have walked away with $1,000, and now your poor wife has no husband to run the ranch. We got this teenage kid that's gonna have to run the whole thing now, and you just did all this to make a point. I don't know. It's really bothered me all day. I've struggled with that. 18 people in. Yeah, exhibit. We got quite a few people rolling in, but I want to make sure we at least give everybody a little time to come on in here. Some people, we got that. Next, we'll bring on the bull and buffalo fights. I think they very well could have. We don't have accounts of everything, but if these guys could do that, they would do that. And it's not just the Californios. This was a thing. Oh, from the Roman times all through the medieval times. I'll show you a picture of some Saxon bear fights. It was just a little different because they had different types of bears in Europe, more of the brown, or more of the black bear type. They didn't have grizzlies. That wasn't like a common thing in 19th century London or medieval Paris, right? But the bear baiting was popular. They had like special arenas all throughout Europe, all throughout the centuries, where people would gather around and watch this. But what made the California fights like really unique is they had a lot of Spanish fighting bulls. Like they had brought this animal with them from Spain, and they had. If you've ever been around a Spanish fighting bull, they're crazy. They're like little Mike Tyson animals. Like they have no neck; it's all neck. It's just a uh, you know, stabbing machine. It's crazy. It's nuts. And they're super athletic. So they have a bunch of these animals that they brought with them from the new world, from the old world. And then they have the grizzly, and the grizzly is all over California. So what they had to do was send cowboys into the mountains, into the Sierra Nevadas, into the San Gabriel Mountains, and rope grizzly bears. Like there's paintings of this. We'll show you guys some paintings of this, where you'd all rope a grizzly bear. It'd take 3, 4, 5 guys, and then you'd keep the ropes tight and haul the grizzly all the way back into town, and that would be that week's bear for the fights. And then there's a whole like setup where I didn't realize they tie the bull and the bear together, that they tie them together and then they let them loose. It's like, well, it's not very nice, but probably pretty smart. Can be honest with you. Like, do you guys have a better idea? Let's see. Surrender Monkey, what's up, man? They have plenty of bear fights in the UK. Don't worry, we'll talk about that. 'Twas done. I would put up a poll to ask if you guys would go watch a bull and bear fight if you came across it in the 19th century. But to be honest with you guys, I love you guys, but I'm just going to assume that most of you would. I feel like most of you would probably go. And I feel like a fair percentage of you would say, oh, no, absolutely, I wouldn't go. And then you'd still go. Bear fights is kinky. I mean, we're not those kind of bear fights, Surrender Monkey. But it's quite the spectacle. I think it's going to be a cool story. And yeah, we're 9.5 minutes in. So I feel like we don't need a map tonight. Am I wrong? If you don't know where California is, let me know. But if you're thinking, whatever California you're thinking of, the one on the West Coast in California, that California, it's known as Alta California at the time. So we're talking pre-Mexican-American War. It's known as Alta California. It's not a backwater. Sometimes I see that said. I feel like that's a little oversold, but it's way away from the capital city of Mexico City. It's just not in very close contact with the Mexican government. There's not much in the way of federal funding for them or federal support. So they are kind of an afterthought in Mexican policy and um, government support. So they've kind of established their own independent culture in a lot of ways. Let's pull. You've probably seen this, but let's pull up the prototype California character here. So this is, I believe, this is a Remington painting of your typical California caballero. I'm looking for it. Looking for it. This is one thing I forgot to pull up beforehand. There we go. It was all the way down there. So this is kind of the prototype in a lot of ways for the American cowboy that would come, 25 to 30 years after the Mexican American War, roughly. Largely, they find their origins in the Mexican vaquero, particularly the California vaquero. The Californios were really considered, in many respects, the best horsemen. Like they were famous among mountain men accounts for being so horse bound that at least the accounts say that they would rather saddle their horse and ride a quarter mile or ride 100 yards than to walk it. So they really became master riders. It's You can see the saddlery here. They were known for ornate saddlery, ornate bridles, wide brimmed hats, serapes. This is a particularly well dressed gentleman, but still indicative of vaquero at the time. They were capable of things in large part, like not literally all of them, but many riders that are recounted in, especially mountain man accounts, um, they're credited with things that really only the Comanche are also credited with at the time. Things that would be akin to a modern day trick rider. They're able to ride on the side of their horse. They're able to um, pull off different feats like riding at full speed and spearing a small ring that's hung from a post or a tree limb on a little tiny. Think of it like uh, hmm, like a golf peg, like a golf tee, like something like that, and having to ride at full speed and spear a little wooden circle about that big. And then they start with a big circle and then work it down into smaller and smaller circles. They would have a contest where they would put a rawhide, like spread a rawhide, a cow skin out, and they would have to run at full speed, ride their horse at full speed, and then stop the horse so that only its front hooves were on the rawhide, and they would measure how far the rawhide slid, and the guy who pulled off getting the horse to stop on it and then made the rawhide slide as little as possible won. And they had one that was like particularly wild. They would bury a rooster up to its neck in the dirt, and then you had to ride at full speed, swing down off your saddle, and grab the rooster by the head. And oftentimes the head would pop right off, and that mean you had to do it without the head popping off. And there's a lot of accounts of guys just tumbling off and breaking arms, legs, necks. It's a very dangerous thing to do. If you've ever seen like steer wrestling, they call it bulldogging or steer wrestling in a modern day rodeo. It's a similar action where you're like sliding off the side of the horse, and if you fall going at full speed, like it's going to be bad news. So they had lots of horse feats and horse games like that men and women and kids would participate in. And you'll see later those are worked into the whole bull and bear fight. Let's go. I found a great article on this on Atlas Obscura by Jake Lee Han. It's from October 23rd, 2017. I'm going to post it in the chat. If you're interested in this subject, this is a fantastic, really detailed, but not terribly long read. You post this at the top here. Pinned. One thing I wanted to show you guys is we talked about the kind of historical lineage of or bear baiting or bull and bear fights. Um, this one, okay. In this article, there's included several really good pictures. You can see here. Let me make sure. You guys give me a one in the chat so I can make sure you're all seeing the picture screen share. And also, if you'd like to earn 50,000 uh, 50,000 points on the Southwest Visa card. You see, you can click there to get it. Let's see. Can y'all see me? Okay, one, right on, right on. Okay, so this is a cool picture. This is a Saxon bear fight. You'll see they often use dogs. We'll talk a little bit more about the use of dogs later. So stay tuned for that. You'll see it's a little gray, and then multiple guys would rope it. You can see some dogs in the background as well. Multiple guys would rope it by the neck, and just like you would a cow, because if you have multiple guys rope it and then keep their ropes tight, you can keep the animal from approaching you. So they would rope it. They would go out weekly, rope one, because you don't want to have to keep a bunch of grizzlies in a pen, right? So they'd go get like one per week, bring it back, and I'm trying to find a picture of a bear pit here, because in London and even in Rome, they had these pretty permanent. I guess this is a fair one. So this is one of a California. They would call these a bear pit or a pit of some kind. This shows California set up throughout London. Let me see if I can find one real quick. I thought I found some good representations of ones back in. Yeah, this is a good one. Let me switch this real quick. Oh, no. I didn't end it, did I? Okay, cool. I thought it. Anyways, okay. Sorry. Hopefully I didn't end the chat. I didn't end the chat. Okay. You guys can still see me, right? Sometimes the controls confuse me a little bit in the moment. Can you guys give me like a one in the chat if you can see me? I'm still setting stuff up here, so. Unfortunately, right on, Nick Sweeney. Okay. So, all right, cool. Now this is shared. So you can see these two, similar to a bullfighting ring in Spain. They had these big kind of amphitheater setups, and they'd have I can't get zoomed in on it, but they'd have the bear fights inside of these, and they'd usually use dogs. You can see right there on I believe the Thames. And they were just, they call them a bear garden as well. Relatively, I mean, they're really high. They have really high walls to keep a bear from getting out. They'd always have extra officials on the outside. This is a California one. But they'd have extra guys on the outside acting as like security forces to just make sure the bear doesn't get out. And so you see these guys here, we have handlers of the other animals. And then there's like a referee. This is common in California too, where you'd have guys with big long sticks kind of either separating them or goading them on. It's a pretty horrific picture, to be honest. But you'd see these elements in bear fights throughout the centuries. And the California structures were far more ad hoc, but the same general idea. So let's go back to this just because it'd be easier to talk over this. Okay. So you see here, they'd have like planked timbered walls, and behind this would usually be like a reinforcing wall, like an angled wall of adobe. So it's not just this rickety wooden fence. There's a whole like adobe kind of sloping support system behind it. And they have the bear tethered off to a pole. And this doesn't show it, but they'd usually have the animals tied together. But this would be a common scene. Every Sunday you'd see a bunch of people making bets. There would be kind of side shows going on the side. And this doesn't show this either, but there would be a raised platform somewhere along the edge of the ring where the women and children could safely watch the bull and bear fights as well. So it was like a bring your family, a all-inclusive kind of event that would start pretty much as soon as Sunday Mass got out. Like they would get out and everybody would head straight for the bear garden, as it were. and they'd usually bring out the bear first, right? They'd tie him down to a post like this, and they would run a couple like warm up matches in for it, right? They would get it going, so to speak, with smaller canines. They'd run a couple of those through, and people would just be like, "Dope, okay, cool. This is the headliner, right?" Like they've seen all day long. They've started out with rooster fights. I know what they're called. I just don't want to get flagged in the algorithm. They start out with rooster fights, and then they'd have like a trick riding event. And then they'd go to dog fights, and then they'd have like another trick riding event, like maybe the first trick riding event is stopping on the cowhide, and the next one is the rooster game. Then they would bump up from there. They'd bring the bear out, and it was like a civic honor to bring the bear out. Like, let's say the alcalde, the mayor, and another prominent citizen would be dressed in their like caballero best, and they would lead the bear into the ring. And you'll see some officials, again, similar to like today's modern rodeo, like we have some security guards on the outside keeping the animals in. And then you'll see these, they don't have this in rodeo, but they do have this in Spanish bullfights, these goading instruments. Like there's a whip. In Spanish bullfights, you'll see these long poles. So the whole idea is to keep the animal in the fight, right? But they'd walk the bear into this arena, they'd tie him down, and then you'd start putting dogs on them, and you give them a dog or two, and that would get the blood up. Give them a bigger dog, and that would get the blood up even more. Then eventually, this kind of culminates with a big fighting bull. Again, if you've never seen an actual Mexican fighting bull, let's bring that up so we have some idea of what we're talking about. Well, technically, it's a Spanish fighting bull. Spanish fighting bull. Okay. Yeah, this will be a good one. So let's take a look at this animal, because the pictures just don't quite do it justice. Oh, okay. I keep clicking the wrong button, guys. Big surprise. All right. So let's take a look at this animal here. What's a good one? Let's do. So we can see here, tremendous. This is kind of he's got a brindle look to him with the stripes, but huge, thick neck, super thick, straight curved or forward curving horns, massive legs, just a big, thick torso. It's bred specifically for fighting, and so it's very aggressive, more aggressive than your typical beef bull that you'd see in a field next to your house. Um, uh, and it's bred over a century. So it is also symbolically the animal that Spain is most known for. And California's had this kind of lingering resentment for Spain, but also a kind of lingering national pride for Spain. So they saw this as kind of like Spain itself versus this grizzly, or Spain versus the New World. So the bull would be let in, and it would usually be like the crowd favorite, that people would be like, yeah, go bull, go bull. Then they would tie the two animals together. It doesn't specify, even in this article, it doesn't specify. I looked at the accounts too. The best firsthand account of this is, if you're interested in following along, is California Pastoral by, I'll find the book after this, but it's an account from a California Pastoral. But they would tie the two animals together with a length of rawhide rope. Then they would be, you usually see the bull attack first, but they usually had to be kind of like goaded into attacking. So the bull has a couple things going for it, right? Let's just break down the fight as it is. Bull is super stocky. Bull is very fast. Bull, so he's a fast twitch athlete. His weapons are limited. He just has the two horns. But if he gets one good shot in with those horns, he's a power puncher. He's got one good shot. Like if he gets the stab in, he can finish this fight. The grizzly has 5 presumable weapons, right? Mouth, 4 claws. He is tied down, but he's a gigantic animal himself. Bigger than, I believe, bigger than the bull would be. You don't have to look that up, but I believe he's bigger than a bull would be. I'll look that up in a second. Uh, let's see. But and also the bear is a naturally predatory animal. So all he really needs to do is get a good bite in on the back of the bull's head, and then he can kind of sink in and work from there. So it's going to be a relatively quick fight in most cases. And turns out, though he is the crowd favorite, most of the time it seems like the bull would lose. There's one account of, who is this? From California Pastoral, from a spectator named Arnaz, that he was present when a bear ended up killing a total of 3 bulls. Sometimes, if it was too fast of a fight, or the crowd just wasn't satisfied, or they thought the bear could do better, a myriad of reasons, right? They would run another bull in there, and then another, and another, until they got the result that they wanted, either a dead grizzly or a good show. So uh, they would, try to get all that they could out of one bear. Usually ended up with the bear passing away as well. It doesn't give a whole lot of detail on what happened to victorious bears, so I'm going to go look into that after this too. But it was a seminal part, a cultural cornerstone for the Californios. And it's, if you think about it as it was an all day event. Like, let's say mass would get out at, I don't know, 10 a.m., noon, something like that. And this show would go all afternoon, and all afternoon you're just seeing animals fighting each other and people falling off their horses and breaking bones. And everyone was just like, this is great, man. Like, this is like a really relaxing, nice Sunday. And it happened almost every Sunday that the weather allowed for, in the beautiful state of California, Alta California at the time. So, yeah, I just thought like that was I think, guys, I think we can wedge this into an actual episode if I tell the whole story of the whole day. But I honestly thought sometimes the algorithm is more sensitive with animal stuff too. So I thought, let's try this as a live stream. Let's see if we can work this into an episode eventually. But an interesting little tidbit, the history from this still reverberates today. Our favorite thing, the stock market, has the terms the bull market and the bear market. And I don't know, I never really knew what they were until the last, I don't know, 10 years or so ago. But it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. And it comes from the bull and bear fights, where a bear market is going down, trending downward, because the bear swipes down and attacks downward. A bull market is going up because the bull attacks upward and swipes upward. And a lot of people, I think, they think that they're just talking about the animal's characteristics in general. And it's like, no, no, no. This came from the bull and bear fights. People just don't know that that was a real thing. And I'm going to research it more, but I'm sure that I've seen accounts of, like, you're going to love this, Nick Sweeney, of man versus bear fights, where they would like wrap their arm in carpet or something, and then they'd have like a Bowie knife in their other hand, and the guy would fight a bear. It's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not cool. I don't want you to do it today, but I'd watch. All right. Any questions on that? And again, if you want like an awesome breakdown of it that was really valuable in putting this together, the article linked at the top of the chat. It is from Atlas Obscura, written by Jake Lee Han, from 2017. Wonderful article. It was a quick read too. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna check the chat real quick. Where did we leave off here? Troy, what's up, man? Carl Karsnick, what's up, dude? I think I've seen you in here before. Many breeds have their roots as game dogs, specifically for fighting. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to talk about the terriers. Yeah, one terrier versus 100 rats, etc. All sorts of wacky stuff. And that was happening in California too. Let's see. That would be like another prelim fight for the bull and bear fights. I do believe that the all-seeing, all-singing, all-dancing AI put the kibosh on this one. On this stream? Maybe. I thought it'd be worth trying out. Where's our birthday princess? Anyways, Happy Cappy? I don't know. Maybe oh, there she is. Yeah. The bear is on the flag of California, says Carl Karsneck. Yeah, they where the golden bears are a subspecies of brown bears, grizzly. Yep, absolutely. and they eliminated them. I didn't realize until I was into my 20s that the last grizzly was unalived in I think Orange County. It's quite a ways south, and it wasn't until 1923, I think. So they made a real concerted effort. Like my grandparents were alive when they were like, let's go get the grizzlies. And honestly, I know. Look, California gets a lot of hate. I understand it. I moved out of the state, out of the state myself. I get it, but it's kind of badass to have a state flag with an animal on it that you eliminated. Can I get a little? Anybody kind of see what I'm saying there? Let's see. The grizzly bear isn't it, Carl? I'm not sure. The last bear from the flag was killed in Lebec. Yeah, I think that was the last attack. Divining Rod, top of the 6 freeway over the Grapevine. It's top of the 5 freeway though, right? Because I've driven through Lebec, man, many, many times. And I didn't know that happened when I drove through there, but yeah, I think that's where the last guy was unalived by a grizzly. But I think the last one was shot in Orange County in 1923 or 4. Remember, this was all just before Hulk Hogan invented the feather boa and made wrestling's watchable. Well, I mean, I'm a pro wrestling fan, but I'm an amateur wrestling fan as well. I think both are watchable. You can see vids here on YouTube. Yeah, man. Okay, Carl, you said you can see vids of grizzly versus a moose. I thought about that with an elk too. I didn't want to post it, but yeah, just YouTube because I thought like, well, they'll really throw a fit over that. But yeah, YouTube it. YouTube grizzly versus elk, grizzly versus moose. They're just hauling. They'll just bite them on the back of the head and they'll just haul them around wherever they want. It's not even close to a fair fight. So the bull and bear fight, like think about one grizzly going through 3 bulls in one day. Man, that's wild. That is wild. And if you've ever seen a Spanish fighting bull in person, it's like, well, what could kill this thing? Let's see here. I've seen this several times. You got the auto hammer from the YouTube bot. Really? It's not like pushing the stream out there? I tried to like phrase it correctly, like phrase it in like a PC way. Rebecca is also where alfalfa was deleted over a dispute. Was a dog? I don't know what that means. Bears can run 40 miles an hour. They will destroy anything they can get a hold of. Yeah, absolutely. Do they really run 40 miles an hour? Correction. The 5 freeway on the Grapevine. Yeah, I've driven that many times. The bull has horns, but the bears evolved to eat aurochs, so it's no biggie, really. Oh, yeah, the predecessor to the cow, aurochs. Let's see. They attack from behind. Yeah, I think they were really trying to mitigate that by tying the bear down. Not really. Only grizzly ate giant. Let's see. Got a lot of chats, so I'm scrolling through them. Chasing it down. An elk is wild. Yeah, it's nuts. And this happened again and again and again. Like, I mean, I don't know if a Spanish fighting bull is wilder than an elk, but maybe. Ground sloth was greasy. We ain't got to outrun the bear. Interestingly, most bears are vegetarians most of the time and only eat meat during the times of plenty. Yeah, they're a vegetarian a lot of the time, right? Not enough where I'm going to feel comfortable around them, but let's see. We found a topic we can't talk about. I will guess dissecting the song. Yeah, is it not like putting the stream out there? Seems like a lot of people are saying it's not getting put out there. Oh. Let's see. It's the size of the fight. The dog. We have wild Spanish bulls. You guys have wild Spanish bulls? But they are super feisty in game. Yeah. Some of the bullfighting bulls for American bullfighting are a little bit smaller. They're not like the biggest bulls in the world, but they're very aggressive and just muscled up. Polish Army Division had a bear in its fangs. Yeah, I've read about that. Giant grizzlies love berries and roots. Yeah, I think that's why Timothy Treadwell like got too comfortable around them. Lots of black bears on the East Coast. Yeah, black bears seem to be nationwide at this point. There are too many. Some in Japan. Yeah, black bear in Japan went on like a rampage. I forget when, but it went on a crazy rampage. Let's see. There are folks named Bear in the English-speaking world, of course. Um, did the I'm trying to read comments that I can actually read. That won't get me in trouble. Russians love wrestling bears for fun. The Dagestanis do. Black bears are just big squirrels, really. Yeah, but when they do attack, they mean business. Have you read the book Blood and Thunder? Oh yeah, it's a great story about the Bear Republic. Yeah, the Bear Flag Revolt. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Grizzlies and polar bears interbreed also. Yeah, the Pizzly, right? Crowboys would find out. Cowboys would go out and find a grizzly and eat it when they went into battle. Crow boys, yeah. Yeah, I've read about that. The crow boys consuming the grizzly, which is like, if you don't know any better, it's not a bad idea. Let's see here. No bears in Africa. Yeah, I guess there's not, huh? Because there's bears in China. I guess there's not bears in no, there's koala bears. Yeah, koala bears in Australia, which I heard are nasty. Let's see. Yeah, I'm wondering if I don't know if the stream got censored or something. Yeah, usually we have, I don't know, 50 people or so. Let's see, you can see vids. We got that. Yeah, I thought about posting a grizzly versus moose attack, but I was like, you guys can look up whichever one you want, whatever your favorite grizzly versus moose attack is. I almost had a bear fall on me while mountain biking. How did that happen? Grizzlies in Africa would be an interesting experiment. Well, maybe, but I think it's a bad idea. That's my 2 cents. I doubt they could beat a rhino or an elephant. Yeah, I don't think. No, I don't think so. They could take out a lion. Yes, but not a tire. I was just going to say not a pride of lions. Yeah. Other than the opossum, all marsupials are in Australia. You guys have a lot of animal knowledge. Did you guys read those like magazines, the animal magazines they used to mail out in the 90s? Australia has drop bears. What's a drop bear? Australia has too many animals. Like, I'm not saying get rid of it, but too many animals. And they all sound horrifying. The bear was coming down a hillside. Where was this, Divining Rod? Poor koalas, they literally have entire smooth brains. Really? I know how that feels. Good evening, everybody. What's up, Plowboy? Good to see you, man. Lots of fighting still in the U.S. Yeah, I know. It's terrible, man. I mean, like, don't get me that I shouldn't even start talking about it because it's just so bad and it'll kind of get me riled up. Koalas are so dumb they won't even eat their one and only food source, eucalyptus, unless it's still on the branch. Huh? I didn't know that. If you pile leaves, they'll just stare at it and starve. That's not a very adaptive animal, is it? Moose have a great chance of winning against a grizzly. Yeah, they're huge, right? They're huge. But it's even more impressive when you see a grizzly grab one and they just kind of sling it around. Now, I don't know. I'm sure it can happen with a full grown male moose, but even a small moose is a big moose. You know what I'm saying? In the 1950s, the British listed the Aboriginal as part of the flora. And okay, that's not very nice. Let's see. Nick Citron. Okay, we got that. The bear encounters was in the Sierras. Oh, the Sierra, dude. Yeah, the Sierras. I try to steer clear of there, man. Drop bears are like koalas, but with sharp teeth and razor sharp claws. Yeah, we just gotta There's just too many of these things in Australia. There's just always some kind of animal that's out to get you. I have never heard of drop bears either. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, we got that. Have you read the book? Okay, we got that. Answered that. I think I'm caught up. So if you had anything that I didn't see, put it in the bottom of the chat now and I'll get to it. My guide buddy saw a grizzly swipe a moose. Swipe a moose. My guide buddy saw a grizzly swipe a moose on the back and broke it in half with one swipe. Jeez, that's crazy. I've heard of stuff like that. But again, that goes to show how crazy a bull and bear fight would be. And again, for our YouTube overlords, we do not support bull and bear fights. This is a cautionary PSA, which it really is. Like, can you see like this? Can you guys imagine how terrible this was? Anybody that says like they want to live in the past, it's like, you don't want to live in this past. This is a horrifying place. Imagine elephants introduced to Southeast Asia. Well, Southeast Asia has elephants, though, right? Hippos are spreading throughout the Magdalena River in Colombia. Oh, yeah. Aren't they Pablo Escobar's hippos? Oh, Southeast USA, dude. I don't know. Yeah. No, we don't need elephants unleashed in the Southeast USA. We got enough problems down there. Pythons. Oh, yeah. Pythons are all over Florida, right? See, that's what I mean. We got enough problems down there. Unless the elephants can somehow take care of the pythons, then maybe. There's like a Simpsons scene where they're like, well, we have too many like lizards. And so we're going to bring in this snake that eats all the lizards. And then we'll bring in gorillas that eat all the snakes. And he says, well, what are we going to do with the gorillas? And he says, that's the beauty of it. When winter comes, they'll simply freeze to death. And it's like, it's a good scene. Let's see. Disney being halted, building a world-class skiing area resort in Mineral King was the first Sierra Club victory. Oh, yeah. I remember hearing about the Sierra Club stopping the Disney resort. Let's see. We have native Florida crocodiles, which most folks don't realize. Yeah, I thought they were all gators. They've just recovered, and now they have invasives to fight. Not good. Let's see here. Well, I think I'm caught up. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What's up, Jamilian? Good to see you. Alligators are one of the great success stories in conservation. Well, I'm glad it worked out for them, but I don't want to be in proximity to one. They're just huge frogs with teeth. They are friend? No, they're not friend, bro. I know I'm not going to the Everglades, says Happy Cappy. Yeah, I'm not going with you. Let's see. It's a madhouse, says Josh McAllister. It looks, I mean, I want to go to Florida, but I don't want to be around the gators. Let's see, imagine. Okay, we got that. Hippos are spreading through Colombia. Those are Escobar's hippos, though, right? Pet Detectives, thank you very much. $5 super chat. Much appreciated. The American Mustang is really the same breed the Carthaginians fought with the Spanish. Wait, the American Mustang is really the same breed the Carthaginians fought the Spanish with that they introduced. I think I'm reading that wrong. The same horse. Yeah, it was the Spanish, the Iberian Peninsula, the Iberian Mustang, right? Yes, they are Pablo's hippos. That's what I thought. They're Pablo's hippos. Let's see. because he had his a whole like own zoo. Montezuma had his own zoo. The conquistadors reported seeing like monkeys and bison and all sorts of stuff. Homer jumping the Springfield Gorge was the funniest episode ever. That's an early one. That's an early 90s one. There are sports teams called the Gamecocks. Yeah, South Carolina. I had a Gamecocks hat that I wore in high school because I thought it was just funny. Hippos are dangerous. Hippos are very dangerous. Let's see. Yeah, thanks again for the $5 super chat, Pet Detectives. I'm a native Floridian. Got that. I'm a native Floridian. We have to wrestle gator just to graduate kindergarten. There's a story. I almost included this. I thought about making this like a man versus animal episode. And there's a story of a Texas Ranger named Gator Davis. And I forget his first name because who cares, right? If you got the name Gator, but they called him Gator because they were in a camp. He was with Jack Hayes and they were in a camp in the middle 1840s, sometime in the 1840s, because Hayes is there. And there was an alligator in the Medina River who kept staring at them, like eyeing down their little camp. And eventually Smith got tired of it and said, like, I'll get that gator out of here because they'd been throwing rocks at it and stuff. And the gator wouldn't leave. So he said, like, I'll take care of this. And he waded out into the river and just like beat the alligator up. He wrestled it around and then the gator swam off. And then they called him Gator from then on. It's a pretty cool story. And then supposedly Bigfoot Wallace fought a pack of wolves somewhere in central Texas. That one, I don't know about, guys. You fought a pack of wolves. There were wolves in Texas for sure, but I don't know about that one. Game means they enjoy fighting and want to do it. Yeah, you'll hear that all the time in boxing, MMA. They'll say like he's game. Next, where do we see something from? Hippos are the most dangerous. I think they might be, right? They might unalive the most people. They were offended by a gator stare. They were like mad. Like even in their personal accounts, they were like, it made me really mad. They wanted to like drive home. They're like, we weren't just out there wrestling gators willy-nilly. This particular gator had it coming. I was like, I mean, like, I get it. You don't want to sleep next to the gator, but it sounds like they threw a substantial amount of rocks at it. And if you're not afraid of the Comanche, just leave the gator alone, right? But the gator got what was coming to him in their view. There are many tales of people fighting large animals and surviving. No, for sure. I was trying to find ones that are just in North American, maybe Old West history. I mean, Hugh Glass survived technically. Let's see. All this animal fighting made me so hungry. Well, that's, I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest with you. Go hit up, where was I earlier? Kava. I hit up Kava for lunch. Hippos are super fast too. Yeah, they're very fast. I believe the Bigfoot Wallace story. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not true, but some of there's some red flags in it. There's lots of stories about huge packs of wolves roaming the plains. Yeah, I mean, there were wolves here for sure. I have no doubt. There's the record to back that up. He had it coming. The gator did. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad for the gator. I feel like they were, to Jamilian's point, being a little aggressive, but humans have more stamina than almost any other animal. That's true. Hugh Glass survived the most and the best ever. I mean, he had a little help, like the other guys unalive the bear for him. So he had some backup, but I'm not going to take the W from him. He did technically get the W. I used to have an Appaloosa that would mirror a dog just like a crocodile and follow. Wait, it would mirror the dog like a crocodile and follow it back and forth and up and down the fence. And if that dog ever went to the wrong side of the fence, lights out. Oh, you mean if the dog ever got on the other side of the fence, the crocodile would have gotten it? You got to double check that fence, bro. Have you read Ernest Seton's story about hunting down the Lobo wolf in Currumpwa Valley, New Mexico? No, actually, I haven't. I'm going to write that down. Jamilian also always has like super awesome book recommendations. Ernest Seton. Wait. Do you? I can just Google that. But is there a particular title to it, Jamilian? Appaloosas are beautiful. We use one of the mascot of my alma mater. Go Knowles. Oh, Florida State. Right on. Yeah, I believe the Nez Perce bred the Appaloosa. Uh, Gators love taking cats and dogs from the water's edge. I do know that. I do know that. That gives me a little shiver up my spine. Not a Gator fan, okay? Nothing against Florida or the University of Florida, but not a Gator fan because of that. I don't think Hugh Glass ever tapped out with the bear. He did not. If he didn't tap, the fight goes on. Um, Ever see that movie Windwalker? I don't think so. The old man Windwalker? I've seen Wind Talkers, but not Windwalker. Okay. Windwalker. Jamilian says it's a quick read just covering his hunting trip. It's called Lobo, the King of Curumpa. Okay, cool. Lobo, King Curumpa. I've been looking for some New Mexico stories too, so thank you. Let's see here. Gators aren't picky. No, they need to be more picky, frankly. Seaton was amazed with how intelligent Lobo was. Really? I think did Bigfoot Wallace have some interaction with Lobo, Jamilian? If you know, I think in looking up this wolf story about Bigfoot Wallace, I feel like there was also a mention of him meeting with the chief named Lobo. Is this the Comanche chief Lobo? I'm not sure how they got down here. I think they just look cool. What are we talking about there? Yes, Nez Perce bred Appaloosa. Yeah, that's what I thought. We need to do some Nez Perce stories as well. I'm a huge Nez Perce fan, right? Like I've always found them particularly fascinating. I thought Chief Joseph was like a really cool guy, like a genuinely cool guy you'd probably want to hang out with. And they just have like a cool hairstyle. They're like, how about we just like swipe it over and put some braids? It's kind of like I don't know, post punk to me, or it's very trendy though. It's very cool. It's a cool look, and it really stands out. Cayuse bred horses too. They were near the Nez Perce. The pony they bred was from mountain riding, small, sturdy, sure-footed, and they called them the Cayuse pony. I feel like I've heard of a Cayuse, but that's why a lot of people in the mountains preferred mules, because mules are really sure-footed, but they are sterile. So you use the Cayuse pony. All right, I wrote that down. You should do a Nez Perce story. 100%, man. I got Nez Perce books. I just haven't delved the right word? Delved into them. Jamilian says, I'm not sure if it's that cheap. Okay, yeah. I'll have to look into it. I think the hunt of Lobo is what got Seaton into the conservation later on. Very cool. Telling you guys, if Jamilian puts out a book recommendation, a source recommendation, take her up on it. A lot of this is environment. Horses down here need to be able to take the heat. Yeah, right. It's not one superior over the other. And the wet soil and swamps, horses on the, like, that's where the quarter horse came from, as opposed to like a thoroughbred. Different needs. Fairly small bodies. Yeah, or they get too hot, right? It's the same. You'll see that with white-tailed deer, like big, giant deer in Alberta and little, like skinny, comparatively, deer here in Texas. A draft horse is a thick boy from the north. Yeah, just go look at the horses up there too. Alberta, North Dakota, Montana. The animals up there are, generally speaking, like larger and sturdier than the horses you'll find here in Texas, because it behooves them to be. Behooves. Get it? I didn't even mean to do that, but it was pretty funny. The Last Roundup, same guy who wrote Lonesome Dove. Yeah, I know The Last Roundup. And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Larry McMurtry? Let's see. Did Larry McMurtry write One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? I'm confused there. HOKC, by the way, me and my colleagues are working on some ideas for a map app. Very cool, man. The main thing is gathering all the data. It is a lot of data, as you can imagine. I'll email you soon. Fantastic, man. Do you have my email? history@theokcorral@gmail.com. You may have emailed me before, but just in case. That's awesome, dude. Let me know. Let's make that happen. See, cold equals big mammals and small reptiles. Yeah, hot equals small mammals and large reptiles. And I'm somewhere in between. Hail HOKC and Hail Chat. What's up, Elite Super Grunt? Good to see you, man. Sorry for being late. No worries. Did you get a notification? I don't know. I had some people earlier telling me like the algorithm was putting me down on this one. So it's a good experiment to see if that's actually true. Let's see. Check out Bill Warner's Why Are We Afraid presentation of battles. The stuttering patient in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is the doc from Deadwood and the voice of Chucky. Oh, I see. The actor Brad Dourif. Okay. Could you type email? Yeah. 1 second. I'll type my email in chat. History at the OK Corral at gmail.com. There we go. I got one, but I must not have heard it. All right, no worries. Like it's also a kind of, I don't know. We've kept it super PG-13, super friendly, and super anti. It's an anti-animal fighting message. Like this is bad. Can you believe they did this? Seriously, this is terrible. So I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a PSA here, but I guess the algorithm doesn't love it. Such is life. Ken Kesey, the merry prankster, wrote "Cuckoo." Okay, that's what I thought. MK Ultra, big MK Ultra guy, big MK Ultra guy. The Norse love serpents and dragons, but have very few native reptiles at all. Yeah, I mean is that from the diaspora? I guess it's not really a diaspora if you come back, but the attacking range of the Vikings, because they went plenty of places where there'd be snakes. McMurtry wrote one. Wait, McMurtry wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Seriously? Did he really? Joseph was the only chief leader that left alive at the end. Yeah, I mean, not the only one, but I feel like he was one of the best leaders of his people. He caused as little damage to his own tribe, while exercising as much foresight as he could. Took his ego out of it, and which I don't think I would be able to do, honestly. I mean, I don't know, like Geronimo, I think he made a lot of rather selfish decisions, but if this army had unalived your family, they might not seem so. You might be a little myopic in your approach as well. But yeah, Chief Joseph's just one of my favorite guys. MK Ultra, you say? Oh yeah, Ken Kesey, the whole Merry Pranksters thing, probably the Grateful Dead, almost certainly the Grateful Dead. The serpent cult is deeply ancient the world over. Everywhere seems to have some version of it. Yeah, and I mean, you know as well as I do that there's a lot of, even in the in Northern Europe, there's still a lot of cross-cultural proliferation. So just because they didn't have serpents doesn't mean they wouldn't know of serpents. Because the Comanche knew about monkeys, right? Which is pretty wild. If the Comanche started talking to you about monkeys, you'd be like, "What? How do you know this?" Okay, so Kesey wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't think I even knew that. The MK Road is a long, deep one. Oh, Nick Citron, we're not even on the road, bro. We just seen like a sign. We're a long ways even from the road. We just know that the exit exists. It's like a long ways away, but we know the exit exists. We haven't even made the turn yet. And it's not pie in the sky conspiracy stuff. It's legit. We can prove this stuff. Well, we can't prove that Ken Kesey was, but we can prove the proliferation of MK Ultra, Project Monarch, Project Bluebeam, Project Paperclip. Those are just a few. So yes, it's long, and we haven't even made the turn, buddy. We will. Once I get the next, I think I can do it here in the next week or so. Like it doesn't take me but a day or two to set up the channel, and then I can start streaming the hidden history conspiracy stuff. It's called hidden history, but it's pretty much us talking about conspiracies. And I'm thinking on that one, we can watch all the kinds of conspiracy videos and just pick those apart. We can watch movies on that channel too, but we can really go, full bore on that channel. Josh McAllister, Olcott was his little brother. Then there's a rainbow. Wait, hold on. I'm lost here. Joseph was the only chief leader alive at the end. And then he says Olacott was Joseph's little brother. Then there's Rainbow and Five Wounds and also Yellow Wolf. All cool names. I could dig that. Those are all good names. Let's not forget about Owlsley. Owlsley? I don't know Owlsley. Owlsley. Oswey? No, Owlsley. Okay. Owlsley. Okay. There's a deep rabbit hole about all the pastors avoiding the Vietnam draft. Very interesting. Okay. I did not know that. Pastors? Okay. Pastor. Okay. That's pretty interesting. Owlsley made all the LSD. Yeah, was that his last name? Owlsley made all the hallucinogenic material. Window pane. Yeah. You took some window panel on Xmas divining rod, bro. All right, I'll look into Owlsley some more. I should know that name. I'll look into it some more and jog my memory. Is that no? That's not the guy that discovered it, but the CIA bought it out, right? They bought out the recipe, destroyed all of it, and then reproduced the entire supply. Something like that. Let's see. Scanning through the chat. What did Elite Super Grunt say? Elite Super Grunt, what are you talking about, bro? Where are you at? Elite Super Grunt. You saying some crazy mess? I don't know what you're saying, dog. We're getting into conspiracy stuff again, says Jamilian. No. I'm just letting people know we're not on the road yet. We're staying on the history highway. Don't worry. The new channel will be available soon. Sydney Gottlieb, absolutely. Honestly, guys, this will be our final diversion, maybe. The Manhattan Project, the Montauk Project. I don't know. Lots of stuff to look at there. Owlsley Stanley. Is that how his name is spelled, though? I thought it was like with an A, but you're likely right. Owlsley, yeah, Stanley and the Grateful Dead, Wall of Sound. Yep. Yes, please. Let's go on that road. That's what the new channel will be for, Nick Citron. I mean, and don't ask for what you're not ready for, bro. We could very well drive you crazy. Owlsley gave away half of his product and sold the rest to finance the band to keep them on the road. I've heard that. Let me look more into that for the new channel too, because I've heard several accounts of this. Because it was just so much fun. Yeah, I'm sure because it was fun. Let's see. It's very simple compound to make. Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's scary how easy it is. Okay. Carl's not. It sounds like you know a little too much. Let's see here. We're just past an hour. We'll go another couple minutes here. Everybody's got Monday tomorrow. Monday. Anybody that says like, oh, I don't hate Mondays. Oh, no, Mondays is just your mindset. Oh, I'm glad to have a new chance to get back and grind. It's like, shut up. You know what I mean? There's no more surefire way to get your ass kicked than to walk around saying stuff like that. HOKC, I cannot wait. Oh, I'm in deep, brother, says Nick Citron. I'm staring at the abyss and it's laughing at me. Well, you know what they say. You stare too long at the abyss and it'll stare back at you. There's an Orthodox priest or an Orthodox saint that says, and I forget which one, I'm ashamed, but he says, stare into the abyss until you can't take anymore, and then step back and have a cup of tea. For me, it's coffee, but you got to pace yourself, you know? Yeah, nobody wants to work after a long break, says Jamilian. No, I get it. It's and this time in between Christmas and New Year's is always a rough stretch for people. Nobody knows what to do. I'm glad we have the live stream and the show because it keeps me busy. Um, no grinding till after New Year's, says Divining Rod. Yeah, anybody that says you got to work through. I mean, I'm doing that, but I like doing this. But any of these corporate hacks that are like, I have no problem with just grinding through the new year. Like, well, you should be put in jail. People who like Mondays have Mondays off. No, they should be put on a list and they should be arrested. Uh, Fling yourself recklessly into the abyss, divining rod, sir. You know that's not the thing to be telling Nick Citron. I know that you stared at the abyss for a while yourself. You can't tell Nick Citron to jump into the abyss, sir. I have a few. What's up, Space Cowboy? What's up, man? How's work been going? Sounds like somebody has a bad case of the Mondays. I forgot that was literally the line from Office Space. I believe that'll get your ass kicked. I like going around to the shooting places, not shoot the filming places, but you know what I mean. The filming places in Austin because Office Space was shot here, and even as a kid, I thought that movie was hilarious. Let's see, what's a day off asking for a friend? I don't know. Never. I couldn't tell you about it. Maybe somebody else in the chat could. Let's see. Nick is a Pinkerton. I don't think Nick Sweeney is. He's too crazy. He's too much of a loose cannon for the Pinkertons to work with. You got that TPS report ready? Yeah. Yeah. I am blown. I am blown. I don't know what that means, Nick Sweeney or Nick Citron. I have a few projects to tend to. No problem, Divining Rod. Nick is a Pinkerton. Oh, you have a couple projects to tend to between Christmas and New Year. I got you. I got you. You're over there and you're encouraging Nick Citron to throw himself into the conspiracy abyss. Maybe that's what I should call the new channel, the Conspiracy Abyss. I don't think it's as catchy. It's not as alliterative as Hidden History. That's my stapler. It's such a quotable movie. It's such a quotable movie. It's a Mike Judge masterpiece. Let's see. That's my stapler. And that's Bill from King of the Hill. I go to the restaurant. I've been to the restaurant several times. It's on South Lamar. It's called Baker Street Pub, but it's Schlotsky's. It's Schlotsky's in the movie where they have all the flair. Jennifer Aniston has not been there. I'm trying to keep her away from me. Oh, trust me, I've already been there many a decade. No, I know I'm giving you a hard time, but like when it becomes your main focus, it can really suck you in, you know? Dazed to Confuse, great Austin movie. Absolutely. There's many Dazed to Confuse locations here as well. There's a lot of Austin film locations. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was filmed. The original one filmed not far from here. All right, all right, all right. Let's see here. I think they should make a movie about the Servant Girl Annihilator. We'll see. Because it's super creepy. We'll cover that at some point. I mean, what a creepy story. I have some theories on it too. Let's see. My main theory being that could possibly be the original. It could have literally been the same guy as Jack the Ripper. He could have started in Austin, Texas, caught a boat to London, and just started back up again. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't really believe that one, but I got some theories. Could be a Comanche. I watched Detroit Rock City the other day. Great movie. Great movie. Never been like a big Kiss fan, but I love that movie. American Graffiti has amazing cars too. Yeah, American Graffiti was shot in largely in Modesto, California, I believe. Same area I'm from. That's a big like bragging point in Modesto. Fast and Furious is lame. That's not what you say to family. Let's see. Work's been good, says Space Cowboy. Ridiculously understaffed as always, but the money and the insurance are worth the abuse and insanity. I think that's what we all say these days. Cole Hauser is in Dazed and Confused. His dad is in a violent movie called Vice Squad. I don't know Cole Hauser. I watched Fast and the Furious happen in real time. The internet is almost gone. Dead internet theory is a real thing. We'll talk about that on the Hidden History show. Oh, tchotchkes. Nick Citron, you're right, bro. Tchotchkes, not schlotzkes. Yeah, Schlotzsky's is it's a real place. I think that's where they got the name though, because Schlotzsky's is an Austin institution. It's not as good as Thundercloud Subs, but it's an institution. But yeah, tchotchkes. My bad. Thanks for correcting me. He could have Jack. Oh, Happy Cappy says he could have been, but they found Jack the Ripper. That's why. Yeah, he was a Polish butcher. I think honestly, I think you're right. I think you're right. You're talking about Kosminski, Aaron Kosminski. That's who I think it was. And I do not think that Aaron. Yeah, Aaron. It wasn't the guy who was in Austin, Texas. And I don't know that they have full proof that it was Kosminski yet. But I know that's a very strong theory and one that I tend to agree with. There's a lot that lines up with Kosminski doing it. A lot. Zoomers never saw the real internet. Honestly, that's a good point, dude. They think they have the real internet, and it's like, no, you have this sanitized playground. And I like Zoomers, man. Like I say this all the time on the show. Like I got Gen Z friends that are like cool guys, fun to hang out with. But yeah, no, they don't understand the Wild West days of the internet. The internet is very, very dead. Yep. I think so, man. I found out about the dead internet theory relatively recently, and yeah, I have to largely agree with it. Cole Hauser is the guy from Yellowstone. R.I.P. Did he pass away? The guy from Yellowstone passed away. American Graffiti was filmed in Modesto, California, where George Lucas is from. Yeah, that's what I thought I remembered that right. Terry R. Thank you. Kids think internet is social media. Yeah, I mean, they really think they have something great, and it's like, oh, you don't understand what this was like in 2005-ish, somewhere in there. Oh, Cole Hauser's character in Yellowstone is named Rip. Okay, I've never seen Yellowstone. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see here. We got a lot of chats, so I'm working my way through them here. Watch Detroit Rock City. Okay, I got that. You can't find anything on Google anymore. No, I know. It's just gotten steadily worse. I would agree with that. Arizona boy, what's up, man? You know what's crazy? For everyone being understaffed, no one will hire people. Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's a dead job market out there too. Do you remember the stoplight on Highway 99? Isn't that north of Sacramento? I'm trying to think where another one is. I know there's one north of Sacramento or north of Stockton, Divining Rod. You haven't lived until you had to wait for dial-up to connect, says Diane Dahl. True. I was just talking with someone about that earlier. It's a world that, and we were talking about how when you were on the internet, no one could call your house. They would get a busy signal. Divining Rod says it was in Stockton. Yeah, okay, I remember that right. I knew it was somewhere up north. The internet is old now, especially in tech years. Yeah. Because people think the internet started in like 2000. It's like, well, we had internet. We lived out in the country and had internet in the mid 90s. Let's see. Got that. As a kid, Divining Rod says, we watched Karate Kid filmed at South Sea's apartment in Reseda. Yeah. That's a great movie. And did you guys know that? I'm sure our Gen X, the baby boomer audience might know this, but it's a complete revelation to us millennials and Gen Z that Ralph Macchio is like a master guitar player, like an amazing guitar player. I didn't know that till, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I had a separate phone line, says Happy Cappy. Yeah, I remember like really tech savvy families. If a friend of mine had a separate line, it was like, oh, he can get online anytime that he wants. I remember leaving when we first got Wi-Fi. I left it on all night. I left it on, like I didn't sign out, and so it was on the same page, like Google or whatever. And the next day, I thought, oh no, I left it on all night, and I called the company and I was like, hey. Like it was an accident. I thought it was like water, like a water bill. Like, oh, if you leave it on all night, you'll get charged for that Wi-Fi usage. And then they said like, no, it's how much data you use. And I was like, oh, okay. They were like, you silly hillbilly. I remember the Yahoo forums. They were, oh, that's old school, very civil and full of legit nerds. True. Let's see. What's the last one? Terry R says the last one was Livingston, California. The last stoplight? They had a stoplight in Livingston, California on the 99. I remember that somewhere around Livingston, there's a like speed bump. There's like you hit this bump and it like makes your stomach flip for a second. Carl Karsneck says Machio was in Crossroads, right? That's where I saw this clip. As a guitar guy myself, it's one of our all-time films. You're a guitar guy. I'm a guitar guy. So when you know what you're watching and you're like, what? I had no idea. You know you're watching somebody actually play it and how difficult what he's playing is. Machio is about 65 and 30, and he looks 38. Yeah, dude looks amazing. Dude looks awesome. Jamilian says, I'm a 2002 baby, so I wouldn't know. Oh man, it was a, in many respects it was different, and in many respects it was the same old world. But certainly around that time, I graduated 2004. So even when I was in high school, yeah, nobody had a cell phone, no one had MySpace, and you had to go home and then log on to your computer and take up the phone line. It was a whole deal. So I don't miss that part. Rick Springfield is 71 and looks 40. Yeah, Rick is looking good. I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's several guys that have stayed in shape. MySpace was legit. MySpace was pretty cool, man. You had to like pick your top 8 friends out, and then there was always like a fight going on about people that were offended that they weren't in someone's top 8. Rick Springfield was hot like fire back in the day. He's still a good looking man. Steve Vai was great. Yeah, Steve Vai was in Crossroads. Yeah. The 80s were peak guitar. Yeah, that's probably true. And then it went back to grunge and kind of simplified. Hush, hush. Somebody's calling my name now. Deep Purple, engineer. I know what you're trying to do. All right, let's see. Great Deep Purple song, though. Great Deep Purple. Better than Smoke on the Water. Let's see. Scrolling through everybody's comments here. Vi is still going strong. Looks great, too. True, true. As long as Keith Richards is hanging on, then I think the rest of us can. I miss having that song on your MySpace page. Yeah, and I miss having ringtones that was like your own personal song. Or you'd leave your voicemail. You'd say like, hey, I'd say like, this is Brandon. I would say, hey, you know who this is. You know I'm not here, and you know what to do at the beep later. And that got me so much heat. People would get so mad about that because, I was kind of being a little bit of a shit. But then you would, at the end of that, you would play your own song in the background and record that onto your voicemail message, which sounds like we were beating rocks together. To today's kids, it sounds like so anachronistic. Like were you guys driving around Model Fords too, or like where did you tie your horses up? Jamilian says, my first phone was a flip phone, so I'd record songs from my computer and save them as ringtones. Yeah, exactly. It was just like a different world, It was, but like I remember when you did that, you were like so proud. When I did it, I was so proud of myself. Like I was the coolest guy in the world because I was like, I put this song, I wanted this song specifically. I chose this song, and like everyone will know how in touch I am with the culture, how cool I am. Divining Rod says Child of Time over Smoke on the Water. Yeah, I got to pick and choose my Deep Purple stuff, but the stuff I really like. I've never been a Smoke on the Water fan. Maybe because when you're learning guitar, that's what everyone plays, so you just get sick of hearing it. Even Metallica's version, I was like, the whole rest of that album was great, right? Bread Fan's probably the best track on that. Whiskey in the Jar, Tuesday's Gone, great job on doing that. But I just didn't dig Smoke on the Water. Let's see. I'll get a lot of ones flowing in here. The kids nowadays won't know how good we actually had it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, not to sound like a stick in the mud, but yeah, there's a lot of things I do miss and a lot of things I don't miss. I would say that. My first phone was the Motorola Brick. Oh, that's old school. That's old school. Got it in 1992. Still have the same number. Right on. That's old school. Armored Saint over Metallica. I will look into Armored Saint because I'm not a Metallica diehard. I'm a fan and I'm a legit fan. Like, I have opinions on all of their records, but I'm not like a diehard. Let's see, Armored Saint. Saint. Carl Karsneck says, back in my day, yeah, I don't want to sound like one of those guys, especially as a history guy. My universal opinion is usually like, you don't want to live in the past. Like, trust me, a lot of people will say, oh, if I wish I was born in the wrong century. It's like, well, what do you think the right century is? Because if you think any time before now, it sucked, bro. You don't want to be there. If they had phones with cameras when I was a kid, I'd still be in jail. Yeah, like, it has good things and bad things to it, right? But we do forget about. I had a pizza delivery job just before I got a smartphone, and you had to put the address in and kind of figure it out, but there was no like display that would show you where it was. And before that, you were printing out directions from MapQuest, and before that, you had to keep a map in your car and kind of figure out where you were going on the same system that they had 2,000 years ago, right? With a map. And you had to like write down on a napkin, like, oh, turn left at 6th Street and then turn right 3 blocks up from there. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. Don't forget that. That sucked. Let's see. I remember when the BlackBerry was the coolest phone to have. You were balling if you had a BlackBerry. That's kind of resurged a little bit, Arizona boy. The BlackBerry is growing in popularity again. Let's see. I still think of flat screens and video calls as 100% sci-fi. I mean, they are. Well, they're not fi. They're science reality now. I remember when the BlackBerry. Okay, we got that. I do miss the Russian surrender monkey. You almost got me. Oh, that's right. You guys in the UK, you did have a mad cow disease outbreak. You might have had multiple ones, if I remember correctly. Check out Tribe of Gypsies, great LA band. I feel like I have checked out Tribe of Gypsies. I'll check them out again. Tribe of Gypsies. It's a nice LA band name. Fun fact, despite appearances, Generation X is actually in charge of the world right now. Americans from all generations need to be thankful that at the end of the day, we got this. We, as in Gen X. You guys don't get a lot of press. Gen X does not get a lot of press. I would say that. You guys are kind of, there's the baby boomers catch a lot of heat. The millennials and Gen Z catches a lot of heat. But you guys are kind of forgotten in the mix, and it's not fair. If the apocalypse ever happens, says Jamilian, we all know who will do fine. Hopefully us, right? Hopefully us. The HOKC family will all band together. We have some useful people in here. We could make it. Unlisted landlines are coming back now. Yeah, for security purposes, yeah. They call it PMS because mad cow. That's a good one, Divining Rod. Very insensitive, though. Very insensitive. Jamilian is going to start a war. Are you trying to start a war in the chat, Jamilian? Are you trying to? This is crazier. This is more incendiary than the flat Earth comments. I'm okay, guys. This is what Jamilian said. This is not what I said. I thought Gen X and Boomers were the same thing. Okay, guys. Let's see what everybody thinks about that. Gen X doesn't want to be bothered. I know we have a lot of Gen X people in here. Yeah. I'm not like super big into the generational divides. Like, I know everybody I know a lot of people from each generation. So I'm sympathetic to the plight of each. Carl Karsneck says, we were the 80s babies with no parenting, no seatbelts, plenty of inebriated driving, plenty of smoking, plenty of latchkey kids, and other substances. We were tough. We are tough, says Carl Karsneck. Carl Carsnark. Jamilian says, sorry. So what's the difference between the silent generation, Gen X, and baby boomers? The silent generation is basically World War II, technically, I think up to 1946. Also the greatest generation, right? I believe that's the same thing. Baby boomers are from 1946 because it's a baby boom after 1940, after World War II. People were coming home and starting families and having lots of kids. So a population exploded. It's a baby boom. So they're known as the baby boomers. And then I think it's 1966. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 66 to 1979, maybe 1980 for Gen X. And then millennials, I believe, are like 1980 or maybe 1979 to, man, through the 90s, I believe. Or no, I mean, up until mid 90s. And then Gen Z, I believe, is born in the mid 90s, early 2000s. Like, I think, Jamilian, you would be Gen Z. And then Gen Alpha is just born recently. Why do brides wear white? Because they were divining rod. You're going to get me in trouble, more trouble than I'm already in here. Wait till you get older, Brandon. You see the divide. Oh, I see it. No, I definitely see it. Divining rod. You know how I love martial arts, and I almost started reading your comment on the difference between karate and the Japanese grappling art, and you would have gotten me in trouble, sir, but you would have made me laugh as well. Carl Carsnark, you could still get spanked at school, too. Man, I don't know. That wouldn't have worked out well for me. I remember sitting in the back of an MG as my mom smoked cigarettes and went through the drive-through liquor store after picking us up as kids from school. It must have been a different time. I don't really, the 90s were much different, but I don't know. People talk about the 90s today like they were crazy, but living in the 90s, all anyone talked about was how they were so tame compared to the 70s. Carl Karsnark, I was watching some judo vids before this. Dude, I'm getting super into judo, man. Judo, you're an Aikido karate guy. I'm a wrestler, and I think judo is endlessly fascinating, man. I'm excited to get more and more into it. Jamilian says, yes, I'm Gen Z. I just always thought X was synonymous with boomers, but you're probably right. Now listen, like, it's hard for me to tell them apart, to be honest, a lot of times. And no offense, guys, no offense. Okay. But it is sometimes. But they are definitely separate. I feel like Nirvana is just grunge music in general. Ask if they like Nirvana or Soundgarden or any of that. And I'm a big grunge music fan, guys, but I'm just saying any of those bands, ask if they like that. And if they do, if you can't tell the difference and they do like Nirvana, they're probably Gen X. Following the flower-loving hippies came a corduroy. Oh, geez. There's a lot of comments I can't read here. I grew up in the late 60s and 70s, Gen X. I mean, it must have been a fun time. The 90s they were fun, but they could be a little restrictive here and there. That scene in Good Will Hunting where he talks about getting hit with the rings. My dad talked like that. My dad liked the belt. Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot about that scene. Where are my millennials at? Says Nick Citron. That's me, dog. I'm a millennial. I am a card-carrying millennial. I grew up on, I don't know. We don't even remember. Like The Simpsons and Creed and Limp Bizkit. People don't understand how big Limp Bizkit was. I know Limp Bizkit is still popular, but it was so big. Eminem took the place over. Let's see. When I was a kid on Saturday, my mom would wake me and my two brothers up, throw us out the door and say, don't bother me unless you're bleeding, broke or something, unless you're very sick. Yeah, I grew up out in the country, man. So like I did just like go outside and just do whatever I wanted. But I know a lot of my friends that grew up in the city did not do that, which I mean, it was a much more dangerous time, you know. Jamilian says Linkin Park, like they're a legitimately great band though. Like that was, I don't know. Limp Bizkit has some cool stuff too, even looking back on it. But Linkin Park is like every time I listen to them, it's like, wow, this is like Chester Bennington's a great singer, and nobody at the time had mixed hip hop and hard rock and this um, kind of hard rock singing, almost kind of grunge singing. That was new. We hadn't heard anything like that. So I don't like Corn was huge. I just never, I don't know. Now I can appreciate Corn, but I didn't get it then. The 80s were so much more conservative than today. I would imagine so. You guys had Reagan and Bush, right? Gen X forever. I think another thing is like Gen X is proud of their generation, and millennials like we're not necessarily that proud of it. I remember Evanescence. Oh yeah, being big thing for a while. That's right. Evanescence was huge, and it just had that one guy, and like the girl got all the credit for singing as well. She should, but we forget about that guy in the background. It was like a hip hop metal guy who would go like "Wake me up," and then she would sing, and like I can't wake up. But we forget that guy's part of the song. Without him, it would feel empty. Grunge was the last gasp of analog music. Yeah, in the 90s, that's when it made the switch. And man, you could just tell the difference. It wasn't necessarily, looking back, it's like not necessarily a bad thing, but I would prefer going back to analog. Limp Bizkit has been one of my favorite bands since I was like 12. Yeah, they seem to really fall out of favor maybe a decade ago, and now they're very popular with Gen Z. And I can appreciate, especially the guitar riffs. I'm like, Wes Borland has some great riffs. I saw Evanescence a few months ago and Breaking Benjamin. I used to work at a rock and roll. I was a hard rock station DJ, and we played tons of Breaking Benjamin. They were so popular. Sam Rivers, founding bass player of Limp Bizkit, recently passed. Really? I didn't know that. We hadn't. I mean, I heard, the way I understand it though is that Fred Durst was like a record executive or an A&R guy, and he kind of constructed Limp Bizkit as like a purposeful product that people would that would be popular in the late 90s. Which, I mean, I don't know, whatever. The guy can front a band. Remember that song "Who Let the Dogs Out"? That was the whole world for like, I don't know, a year. My high school was their mascot was the Bears, and they made this terrible cut song for, they would play like during football games and stuff, right? So you're standing on the sidelines and you hear this song come on, and it goes, "Who let the Bears out?" And it was like they cut it in there in this early 2000s terrible way. It was just, it stood out so poorly, and they played it a lot during the games. Let's see. The movie Kids, do not watch, but that's an exaggerated version of how, what are we talking about? Remember that song? Okay, we got that. I got to see Limp Bizkit a few years ago. It was dope. Fred Durst gave me the dabs. Oh, okay, dabbed him up. 2 out of 3 top yeah, dude, you could go watch Woodstock 99 and you'll see Limp Bizkit doing their thing. Like Woodstock 99, if I had to choose, I would take Woodstock 99 or 94 or 99 over the original. They're just some crazy performances. They've even got Joe Cocker at 94. Come on, I can get Joe Cocker and Metallica and Aerosmith. I heard Metallica thought their set wasn't that good. Go watch it, guys. We're talking about Metallica earlier. Their 1994 Woodstock opening, they open with Bread Fan. It's so good. Amazing that we've almost cured. The classic, "Let's start a band, bro," and it worked. Yeah, we don't really see that anymore, huh? Amazing that we've almost cured it, though. You're talking about people wanting to start a band, Carl Karsnark? Mario Kart, anyone? Man, I suck so bad at video games, I didn't play them as a kid very much. I just watched people play. Jamilian says, our mascot was Bulldog, so we always use that song. Oh, yeah, that fits. You don't have to change the animal, right? Bulldogs. There's a lot of bulldogs. We don't want to whatever, geolocate you, Jamilian. So we don't want to give your location away by guessing where that's at. Underrated Aerosmith album, Done with Mirrors. Yeah, that's right before they like totally broke up, right? Done with Mirrors is underrated. Draw the Line is underrated. People say what they want. Oh, they were falling apart during Draw the Line. Yeah, well, let them fall apart some more because this album's great. Let's see. I Am Late, says Ellie McFadden. Well, welcome in. Welcome in. Glad you made it. We'll go to like 2 hours and we'll call it a day. I saw Kiss in Cincinnati in 1976. Very cool. I would go see live Kiss. They open with a Bread Fan cover. Yeah, dude, it's so good. It's so good. They just smashed that song. Let's see here. When they got clean, hints. Oh, when they got clean. Is it the first one from when they got clean? Oh, so it's their comeback one. Yeah, Done with Mirrors. Okay. Draw the Line was right before they broke up then. I think they fell apart for a while after Draw the Line. Maybe that's when they broke up, but there was like the Joe Perry project, and then they had a couple different guitarists that Steven Tyler brought in, but it didn't work. Let's see. Freddie Mercury. I don't know what we're talking about there. Fred and Britney. That's right. And then it was wasn't it Christina Aguilera too and Fred? And then I believe Christina Aguilera and Carson Daly. And that is where the Eminem line says, I can sit next to Carson Daly and Fred Durst and hear them argue over, Hell yeah, I would go for a bull bear fight. Honestly, we can't endorse that, but, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Pam and Tommy, says Ghost Dancer. Pam and Tommy wouldn't even be a thing today. Can you imagine like how underwhelming that would be today? People wouldn't even care. It wouldn't even make the headlines. Paris Hilton again wouldn't even make the headlines. R.I.P. Ozzy. R.I.P. Ozzy for sure. Where did you DJ at? Central Valley. What years, if so? 92.5 The Bear from 2008 to 2009. It wasn't very long. I just got offered a job there, and my buddy offered me a job. He heard me like I drank way too many beers and just rambled on about I don't know, music for a while, and he was the head DJ, and so he was like, "Hey, you should come DJ at this station." We were on the way to a Velvet Revolver show, and there I drank way too many beers and just rambled on and on and on. But he saw talent. You would have to do Pam and Tommy on purpose just to get they wouldn't even care. They wouldn't even get noticed today. Let's see. It would just be another tweet. I know it's X, right? But I just don't. It's too much to say X post. Paris Hilton is getting a divorce. That sucks. I mean, she's like, if you've ever heard her just talk normally, she's a cool girl. Like she's for sure smart. Like she played up this whole ditzy role. But she's smart. She's seemed like a cool girl to talk to. Mario Kart. All right, we covered that. You would have to do. Okay, we got that. Anything with X in it is peak 90s cringe. Oh yeah, everything was extreme. Everything, the food, the programming, the soda, whatever. Like everything had to be extreme, and I kind of miss that. Do you remember the radio station in the Valley that did the song mashups? They'd mix a rap song over a rock. I do not. No, I don't. I didn't know that was a thing. Happy Cappy says she's a pretty girl. Yeah, absolutely. I think we all thought she was pretty, but we all thought she was ditzy. Like, no, she's not. She's not ditzy. Paris is crazy like a fox. Yeah, exactly. And I have an affinity for people that are crazy like a fox. Let's see. I heard Fred was a tattoo artist, Fred Durst, and he's a pompous, not very nice person. Regardless of that, I love their jams. I don't care what he does for the most part, as long as they keep rocking. Yeah, if you didn't listen to every band whose frontman was a pompous jerk, you would never have a band to listen to. Remember Jenko jeans? Yeah, they're coming back. There's lots of Gen Z that love Jenkos. Travis Pastrana jumping into a San Francisco Bay was not cringe. I think one thing that we would probably never see again today is the Fox primetime airing of Robbie Knievel jumping over the Grand Canyon. That was such a scene. I remember like rushing home. Everybody watched that. Citrone, I bought those for my kids. Crime scene jeans. Well, I don't know what that means. Ditzy is the best. Well, she was ditzy like a fox, though. I just gave my niece Bob Dylan CDs for Christmas because that's what she wanted. Everything old is new again. Seriously, yeah. I mean, the sound quality is great, and I think Gen Z has so much access to music. Like my generation would have listened to a lot more, I think, than we did. But you had to go buy the CD. And now, what's really great, I think, in particular for musicians, is that you can go watch whatever. I can go watch a Muddy Waters show from 1964. I can go watch Talking Heads from 1980, and I can go watch Guns N' Roses from 1992 and 50 Cent from 2003, and on and on and on, right? Which is cool. You can listen to a lot of different stuff, and that just was not possible back then. That's why like LimeWire was such a big deal for us, and Napster. Remember Paris's friend, Rod Stewart's daughter? She was married to, yeah, she's married to Benicio del Toro, something like that. I can't believe she's already going to college. Wait. Oh, she's going to college. Oh yeah, yeah. It happens fast, man. Crime scene jeans had 50-inch cuffs. Oh, I know those you're talking about. Okay, I didn't know those were called crime scene jeans. I remember a lot of puka shell necklaces, a lot of chains. I never did that. I wasn't into that aesthetic. I did like the backwards hat that you'd like wear to like right here. You'd have like a pro fit hat. It could not be a snapback. If you wore a snapback hat, people would look at you like you had the like you were insane, let's say. So you had to have a pro fit hat and it had to be worn low like that. And you had to wear your backpack really high. But that's pretty much all I remember. Let's see here. All right, I think we're almost caught up on the chat. I keep saying this, but we'll go another 10, 15 minutes, then we'll call it a night. Divining Rod says, started a riot in Irvine Meadow, California after a Metallica show by playing hacky sack with an empty doors party ball. Oh, do you mean a Coors party ball? Am I reading that right? Because I remember I wasn't old enough to drink, but I remember the Coors party ball. I wore cheap bell bottoms, earth shoes, and corduroy. That's a cool aesthetic. I can dig that. The Coors party ball. Yeah. So you're playing hacky sack with the Coors party ball. Why would that start a problem? Seems appropriate to do at a Metallica show. All right. So before we pop out of here, we'll have live stream tomorrow. That should be, what do I have? I have something I have to do in the morning. So we're going to do 1 p.m. Eastern for the live stream. And then we'll have a regular time live stream tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. You all are a lot younger than I am. Well, it's just time is an abstract concept, Depends where you are. Sometimes I'm the youngster, sometimes I'm the oldest. I don't know. It just depends where you go. The 80s were super tight. The jeans in the 80s were super tight, and then they were super loose. Yeah, I've seen that iteration a couple times in my short little life. Let's see. Short shorts in the 80s too. Yeah, you did not wear short shorts when I was in high school. They had to be baggy. The baggier, the better. Mostly 80s babies here. Yeah, I'm a 85 baby. You go to Sea Boys, Brandon. Met Stevie Ray Vaughan there. Steve, you met Jimmy Vaughan there. Yeah, I heard he plays there. I've been to Sea Boys. Yeah, I've been there a couple times. That's like a Austin institution. You are never too young to be inebriated, says Surrender Monkey. Well, that's a very British take, Surrender Monkey. We do not feel that way here in America. We have a lot more strict views on our alcohol consumption than our European brethren. You're 84, baby. Oh, okay, cool. I was born at the very, very, very tail end of 85. So I'm more of an 86 baby, really, but let's see. My dad looked a little like Magnum PI at the time. That was a vibe, dude. To think SRV was on regular radio, you'd never hear that now. You'd hear that on classic rock. At least the station back in California played Stevie Ray. Well, Magnum PI was the only one could pull that pimp stash off. I don't know. I think there was a couple guys back in the day could pull it off. Josh McAllister, Wounded Knee Day, I recall. Oh, yeah, that's me. In the 70s and 80s, I was arresting people. I'm a 50s baby. Well, welcome in. You might have I don't know if you were here when Jamilian stirred the pot by saying that she didn't know the difference between, or asking if there was a difference between Gen Z and baby boomers. Gen X and baby boomers. It caused a bit of a row in the chat, which was fun. 70s, 80s was rough in the US all over. True, yeah. Magnum PI was the only guy that could pull off that mustache, says Happy Cappy. I don't know. I feel like I could pull it off. Let's see. A block from your place is Seabo. Oh, so you're on South Congress. Okay. Continental Club. Yeah, I've been to the Continental Club several times. Let's see. Tons of great cop exploitation movies, too. In the 80s? I don't remember the 80s at all. I was like 4 in 1990, but I've heard they were good. Divining Rod. That's not very nice. Let's see. Let's see. Tons. Okay, we got that. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I could pull off a Magnum stash. I'm dying on that hill, Brandon. Fair enough. That's where Tarantino gets all his looks and aesthetics. Where's that? Oh, the cop exploitation movies. Okay. Well, Ellie McFadden, were you a cop or a police officer? Excuse me. That's where Tarantino. Okay, we got that. Vice Squad, great cop movie. I've never seen Vice Squad. Let's see. Dirty Harry, the taxi driver. Oh, yeah. Dog Day Afternoon, Scarface, Godfather, etc. Yeah. Ellie McFadden was a cop. Okay, cool. So you were busting people in the 70s and the 80s. Way back in the day. Doling out justice. Hands up against the wall. That's what I've heard happens. Let's see here. Yeah, can you let me know what the deal with this confrontation over... Oh, okay. I didn't see your comment here. So 600 people joined your hacky sack game? Oh, yeah, bro. You can't do that at a Metallica concert. It'll go crazy. That place will riot. I met Quentin Tarantino at a restaurant in LA. He gave me the nod of approval for my gorgeous date. There you go. Even Beverly Hills Cop was a comedy semi-spoof of the genre. Yeah, okay. But what about Lethal Weapon? They're cops, right? City, county, and federal at the VA hospital. Well, awesome. People were running on top of people's cars. What are we talking about? We got a lot of confusing stuff in the chat. Let's see. Happy liked Magnum PI. It seems like you did like Magnum PI. Let's see here. Divining. Oh, yeah. Did you see what Divining said, Happy Cappy? We can neither confirm nor deny. We're going to skip that comment. All over the top. Pimp characters are from the 70s Cops movie. Yeah, I guess that was just before my time. 48 Hours had that grit because it was done by Walter Hill, guy who did The Warriors. Yeah, I've never seen 48 Hours or The Warriors, so I'll have to watch those. Those are all like before my time. just slightly. I remember that Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner being huge when I was a kid. And even then, I was like, I think I watched it a few times, but it's not the best. That's why the 80s were so conservative because of the 60s and 70s debauchery. Yeah, that's my understanding of it. Is the 60s and 70s were obviously rather chaotic, so they wanted some law and order, I guess. Tom Selleck, aka Magnum PI, plays the best cowboy parts. I'm telling you, we talked about Quigley Down Under yesterday, and some people said, "Oh, it's not a western." It's like Tom Selleck is a walking western. Because that's one of my favorite westerns. Let's see, Tom Selleck, aka okay, we got that. Warriors is a retelling of Xenophon's Anabasis, one of the most epic real stories in history. Okay, let me write that down. Xenophon's Anabasis. Interesting, man. Thanks for that. Anabasis. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but no, thank you. I did not know that. That's very interesting. The same gorgeous date took me to the 96 Grammys. It was awesome, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You don't want to fly too close to the sun, Divining Rod. From a guy who's flown too close to that sun more times than I can recount. Don't fly too close to the sun. I'm preaching to the choir here. You knew that before I was like 10 in 86. So you've known that longer than me. Let's see. Also, the call called the March of the 10,000 or the March Up. Okay. Anabasis is March of when, like, what time period is this? 10K. Okay. Xenophon. Okay. So the Greeks, soldier, philosopher, and writer. It's pronounced Xenophon, I'm assuming, right? What's that movie with Bride? Lee. I'm not sure. I don't know what that means. You mean Leroy Jenkins? Leroy Jenkins. Matt Damon lives in Walter Hill's old house. Who's Walter Hill? Divining. Happy Cappy wants to know more about your Grammy date. Divining's been all over, man. All right, what are we at? We'll go 5 more minutes and we'll let everybody go. But yeah, so we'll be back 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, 7 p.m. I'm sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And I got to get some shorts up for today. Forgot about that. Is he, who is this? Xenophon's book, Peri Hippoi, is one of the oldest texts on equestrianism and has been in constant use in publication for the last 2,400 years. It's very interesting. He also wrote Cyropedia, a history of Cyrus the Great. Very interesting. Okay, I've heard the name Xenophon before, but just didn't look into it. I got to get my old age sleep. Bye, all, says Ellie McFadden. No problem. We're wrapping up ourselves here. So thank you for coming by. We hope to see you tomorrow. Divining Rod says, my Grammy date worked for Capitol Records. Okay. You got to know your Greeks. Yeah, but there's only so much hard drive space, so I've got it largely devoted to the Old West for the time being. But I'm a big fan of Greek history. It's very interesting. Is that where the term, I guess, but xenophobic comes from? Spelled the same. All right, guys. And any questions about anything we covered today? Let's see what else. We have the sleep episodes coming out. Hopefully, probably Tuesday. But for a nice New Year's treat, couple of sleep episodes just with a black screen and a fire noise behind it, so everybody can sleep to it. And then I have a Ranger story coming out. We have some off the beaten path stories coming out. What else do we have? A bunch of stuff. Pacific Northwest stories coming out. We went to see Lenny Kravitz at the Wiltern Theater. What year? His little Lenny was so close. Just caught me off guard with that. Is it 96? Did he have Always on the Run was already out. That's a great song. But I feel like Fly Away. I get it. I understand people's issue with it, but I still feel like it's a great song. Cyrus the Great is only named Messiah in the Old Testament as well. I'll have to go look at that. Walter Hill filmed 48 Hours and the Warriors. Okay, he was the director. You saw Lenny in 96. Happy Cappy. Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. I'll catch up. All right. So, any more questions about the bull and bear fights? Any of the stuff that's coming up this week? Texas Rangers. What else do I have? I'm forgetting something. We have 2 Texas Ranger episodes, a new one, kind of a little different from what we normally do. Be coming out to. I don't want to ruin the surprise for you. What else? And yeah, we'll be starting the Hidden History channel next month. The merch is, I hope, finally finalized. So we'll have the mugs and the T-shirts. I think I got it where they're all going to be 100% cotton now. So that was a big issue. Like they're ready to go, but then I got one demo that was 50-50, and I was like, bro, our HOKC army is going to freak out on me, rightfully so, if I don't get you 100% cotton. Carl Karsneck, West Side Story is just Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, there's a lot of stories. Isn't like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Just the Odyssey is Homer's Odyssey, and there's several movies that are basically Hamlet, just to name a few. Twisted Sister, come out and play. I don't know what that means. Engineer, I don't know what that means, guys. Twisted Sister, come out and play. Good night/morning to all. Take care and be well. Thanks for coming by, Surrender Monkey. Come on back tomorrow, man. Thanks for tuning in. All right, guys. So, like I said, that's our schedule for tomorrow. Oh yeah, and we'll take a vote on it tomorrow. But I'll be doing either on New Year's Eve or maybe I could do it like through midnight or something. We could do like a long New Year's Eve stream where maybe I'll start at our normal time and go past midnight, or we can do an all-day stream where we just review movies and talk about several different stories and all that good stuff and just hang out. I'll vote on it tomorrow, whether you guys want it New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I've been thinking about that. So it won't be anything super formal, but I'll be here. We can all hang out and talk history whenever you guys want. Let's see. Engineer says, I laughed so hard out loud. What do we laugh at? New Nolan Odyssey looks like crap. My inner Greek nerd rages like Achilles. Nolan Odyssey. It sucks. Nolan. Is it Christopher Nolan? Odyssey. Okay. Bro, they're just crapping the bed on history movies lately. Seriously. Seemed like there's a couple of good ones in a row, and you saw there was like some hope. Like, nothing's ever going to be perfect. We don't need like complete history nerd, perfect, accurate movies. But like, it started to be like, well, maybe we'll get some good ones here. And now they've just been stinkers. Just stinkers. Scissors. I can't say that. The Price is an incredible Twisted Sister song. Isn't that we're not gonna take it? Happy Cappy, okay. More modern retellings. Puke. Yeah, we don't need it. Write it down already. Twisted Sister, come out and play. Oh, the name of the song is Come Out and Play? Yeah, that was the last good movie. What was the last good movie? What's the last good movie? I'm missing it here. I'm not sure. But we can watch a couple movies during the long stream, just something that's long and novel and a little bit different to celebrate the new year. So we're doing that. And then, also, I don't have as many people as I like to ask this question to, but we have enough of the diehards. What I'm thinking of doing, because for the episodes, I often have to film them like this, right? And I have to read the script and look at the camera. It's the whole thing. But it works out basically just like when I read any information on the live stream, right? So I'm thinking about doing something maybe for members only. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it some more tomorrow. But something to think about, where I'll do like a behind the scenes thing. Like I'll film a live stream of me recording the script, so you guys can like watch me doing it. We can talk about it as it's happening. You can see all the flubs, and we'll take a break and talk about the story. So it'll be like an episode extra and like behind the scenes for the episode. And then I can just take that video and send that to my editor, and we'll release that as an episode with all the pictures and music and everything. But if that's something you'd be interested in, where like we all get together and you can hear the episode before it's even released, basically, and watch me, you know, actually read the script live, and then I'll stop at certain points and we can talk about things that are happening in the script and stuff like that. So it'll be like kind of like our normal live streams, just slightly more formal because I'm literally reading the script, but I can do that for a couple paragraphs, and when I inevitably mess up, we'll stop and talk about it. I think it would be fun. At least worth trying. It's worth trying. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. The credit belongs to the man in the arena, as Teddy R would say. Twisted Sister combined Animal House and the Warriors in one of their videos. Yeah, that's we're not going to take it, right? Armored Saint combined Metal and the Road Warrior. Okay, I could dig that. Always with the members only privileges, down with the party. Well, to make it more what would we call inclusive? There's another word that I'm blanking on right now. I was thinking we can open it up to everybody and then afterwards make it members only, because I do have to give people that are members some bit of a extra treatment. Nick Sweeney, Comrade Sweeney, our great leader, power to the people. Now, the only problem I've had, Nick Sweeney, is this morning when I went out for my gruel line, the party members had run out of it. I took it up with my comrades, but they had run out of it entirely. So we need to work on our ration supply to our gruel lines. I just stumbled across Dances with Wolves the other day on TV and forgot how beautifully shot it is. Yeah, it's a great movie. We can do that for a movie night. And that's a guy with another great mustache. That's true. But Costner's mustache is indeed no match for Tom Selleck's mustache. I think that's what Happy Cappy would say. And let's see. I was thinking it's the newest movie I liked best. Wait, Dances with Wolves is the newest movie you like best? It's been a while. Congratulations. Now it's half rations for you, says Nick Sweeney. Oh, man. Dang it. I knew I should have kept my mouth shut. The needs of the individual do not matter, right, Nick Sweeney? It's the needs of the party. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll start winding it down. Some stuff to think about for members' extra benefits if you guys would be interested in that. I think it'd be cool. Then tomorrow we're back for our coffee talk at 1 p.m. Eastern, our live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll have shorts out. We'll have another episode out in a day or two. And yeah, we got the train rolling, and we'll just keep right on going through December and then into January. Kevin Costner, Ventura, California, homeboy. I didn't know he's from Ventura. His boat's in Santa Barbara, one of the most beautiful boats I've ever seen. I did not know he's from Ventura. That's it. That's interesting. Okay. Thanks for that, though. That's a nice little tidbit to end the night on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I had a good time discussing this with you guys. So as always, really appreciate everybody's time and your involvement. So looking forward to our coffee talk tomorrow. We'll see y'all at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Took me a second, but I got it. All right, everybody have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. God bless. Bye.